What's up, everybody? So, like I said, we're gonna have a lot of Q and A's. This individual happens to be Daniel's brother. They're twins. This is someone that I've looked up to from afar as well. This is someone that's super competitive, super athletic, has a bright future ahead of him. But I love that the very most important thing, the most essential thing in his life is Christ, and that's gonna take him super far than anything else is gonna take him. So, without further ado, Gabriel. Let's
Yeah,
come
stick
on.
to that.
So I want the people that are watching to kind of get to know you a little bit. You're 16, right?
I'm 16 years old.
Yeah. So your brother Daniel was here last shooting, and you guys are twins. And so I kind of want to talk to you about how do you feel like about having a twin? Because like the Bible obviously talks about being unique and being um, someone that's completely loved and cherished and one of a kind. How do you feel about like having a twin? Do you feel that God made it that way for a reason, or
Yeah, because I like having a twin because I don't feel like alone. You know what I mean? And also because like I have like two wardrobes basically. You know?
two wardrobes?
Yeah.
All right.
I like being a twin.
Okay.
That's cool.
So I know you play volleyball as well, and you're on the varsity team. And I talked to Daniel about this, and there was a at Biola. There's this. It's called Intramurals. I think that's how you say it. I still don't know how to say it, but it's pretty much like a Christian league for anyone that's not on the actual basketball team at Biola, right? And so anyone can sign up on it, and there's like divisions. There's like A, B, and C. A is like the best one, and then so on and so on.
Mm-hmm.
I had some friends that wanted to sign up for it, and they wanted to sign up for C just to kind of mess around. I was like, all right, so I signed up. There was an instance where like these guys were getting aggressive, and so I started going try hard. And in basketball, what they teach is like if you put your hand like on the waist of someone, like extend your hand, like they teach you to use them. So like I clamped this dude's arm like this, and I was like, ref, look, he's holding me. Like I used them, I like take advantage of that, and I gave up the ball, and the dude started going that way, but I was going this way, and so I yanked his arm like on purpose, like with the intention of like possibly hurting this dude. And I yanked him, and this dude like tumbleweed over, and like he was rolling, right? And at the time, I was like, "Yeah, boy, I'm all over you." But really, after that, like I still went and like I had like practically LeBron this dude, some other dude, like he was on the key and he was about to take a charge, and I just like rammed him, scored, he fell. Some girls were like, "You don't have to play that rough. Stop being so aggressive." I was like, "Whatever, like I don't care what they say." I kept playing. My team called a timeout. We're talking for a little bit. And afterwards, I get back in the game, and it was really the Holy Spirit just kind of nudging me. And he's like, "Is this how God would want you to play?" And like, I instantly felt rebuked. Like, I felt convicted right away. I was like, "Man, like, why am I playing this way?" Like, because I thought of what he said. He's like, "You don't have to play like this, man." And I was like, "Well, don't put your hand in." Like, that's not a response that I should be responding to. And I like, at that moment, I was like, you know what, like, sell me out. Like, I mean, we're already up by 22, so like, I didn't have to play.
Yeah.
And so I got out, and I was just kind of like making comments, saying stuff. But I know that in volleyball as well, you obviously want to win, right? You want to be competitive. You want to hit the ball. Has there ever been a time where you played that wasn't to the standard that God would want you to play?
Yeah. Like in club, like there's times where I felt like let's say we're at game point, right? And it's like 17-24, we're about to win, right? And I'm like, all right, this is easy. Like, like we're gonna take them out so quick. And like we weren't getting any points, we weren't scoring, we kept getting blocked, we kept like missing like the pass, right? And then it came to the point where it was like 23, like 24. And I remember like we called timeout, I was yelling at my team. I was furious. I was like, what are we doing? Like, this is bad for our ranking. Like, we're gonna be so like low now. Like, it doesn't look good on our team. And luckily we came up with the win. But I was yelling at everyone. I was calling them out, saying how like I didn't even like. It wasn't even like criticism. I think I was like saying how like they suck. Like, you know what I mean? Like things like that. But yeah, I definitely like I've had that feeling where I'm like mad and like do like reckless things.
Yeah. How have you prepared yourself mentally, like before a game, or even after the game, or even talk to God about it? Like, why am I playing like this, or like reflected ever, or just kind of prepared yourself before a game, like, okay, like, you know what, like, I'm playing for God, I'm not playing for myself. Like, yes, I want to win and be competitive, but I'm a Christian. You know, have you ever?
Yeah. After the game, I realized it because like sometimes my team like doesn't want to talk to me, and I'll
What did you
meditate.
do?
I mean, I just call them names. Like I
Yeah.
just called them out, and nobody likes to get called out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I I meditate, like, and I remember like I prayed. I remember I prayed after, and I said like, Lord, like, I'm sorry, like, I know I shouldn't be playing like this, and that's basically what I would do. Just meditate, listen to music, calm down, things like that.
All right. And so I also told your brother on one of these, um, Stephen Curry is like one of the biggest known athletes, right? He's a Christian athlete. And I think everybody knows that. There was a post that he posted not too long ago. I don't know if you saw it. It was like him and his wife, and he was like standing, and he was like holding her.
I know what you're talking about.
You know which one?
Yeah.
That one was like, I saw that, I was like, that's so controversial. Yeah, it's so controversial.
I know. I actually, no, I know what you mean. Because I went on his account earlier, like not too long, like recently, because I wanted to see like about his hand, and like I saw that, I was like, that doesn't look too good, like on him personally. But
and so, how is it that you, as an athlete and as a Christian, carry yourself? Because Christians aren't a fishbowl. You know, they look at you like you stand out in a crowd. They're like, "Oh, you're a Christian." Like if you do something, they'll look at you like, "Aren't you a Christian? Like, why are you? You're talking to us like that? Like, how can you say something, right?" So how do you like carry yourself, or what have you done to kind of portray, or have you? Because you can easily go by high school and no one would know you're a Christian, right? You can easily just hide it and say like, "Oh yeah, like I go to church, but it's not a big deal." Like you can easily do that. But how have you?
like how have I portrayed that I'm a Christian?
Yeah. Or have you?
Well, no, yeah, I have. I'm not really ashamed about it. Like for example, my bracelet. I don't have it on me right now, but the no longer I, the crossbone. I always like wear that, and it has like no longer I, and like everyone will come up to me and be like, "Oh, like what is that? Like what's crossbone? What's no longer I?" I'm like, "Oh, it's a verse in Galatians." And after that, like they'll start asking me questions, like not like straight like hard questions, but like they'll just ask me like, "What's my church? Like what religion are you?" And like things like that. And like most of my school, like, or at least most of my friends I know, they know like I'm Christian. Like me and Daniel, like we always talk about God, and like people always try to come to us and debate, or like they just ask us questions.
Yeah. How is that like? Because everyone knows you're a Christian, and you have to, in a sense, hold this like reputation, right? We obviously walk in a way where we're going to be judged by anything. Like you're judged whether you're doing good or whether you're doing bad. You're going to get criticism, right? How have you like interacted with the people that have kind of come to you and like pushed back? Because I think you also mentioned to me that you were in class once and like your teacher made some comment about like Christianity, and you like, I don't know if you responded or you didn't say anything.
Like did I say like a bad comment on Christianity?
The teacher, yeah, he like pointed something out, because a lot of the teachers in the school systems that we attend will say something like, "Oh yeah, Christianity is just like, it's just a religion. Like everyone has their own religion. Follow what your heart tells you."
I don't think I don't think I said a teacher, but maybe like classmates. So, like, how do I respond to that? At first, I was all like gun ho, like let me just debunk this kid. Let me let me put facts on him. I came to the point where I wasn't trying to do it to like boast and be like, "Oh, I'm a Christian. Like I'm like a good kid. Like I don't, you know what I mean?" And like I brought my Bible. And like just in case, like I just like bringing my Bibles to school sometimes in case people like come to me and like ask questions.
That's huge.
But before, like I remember I was like gun ho. I would just literally be like, "Oh, you said something about my religion? All right, then like I'm just gonna like talk about how you're Catholic and how it's wrong and things like that." Like I used to be like that.
Right.
And but lately, like I talked to my mom about it. She tells me, you know what, like us as Christians shouldn't put we shouldn't put a view on ourselves where we're like aggressive and we like to like just aggravate people, you know what I mean? Like just things like that. So I've kind of learned that I prayed about it a lot, that like helped me control myself, Because, you know, I'll be in class and someone will be like, I'll just be talking and they'll be like, oh, here's Gabriel talking about Christianity again, but I wasn't even talking about it, you know? And I like in my body, like I really want to say something to him, like, or the person.
Yeah.
But, you know, I just like hold it in.
That's the Holy Spirit right there. That's him keeping you attuned and like having you have that sense of peace. Because, oh man, like, I think if someone were to say that, like, I'd easily be quick to be like, what you say? All right.
Yeah.
Let me show you how you're a sinner, son. You know, like, just real quick.
Yeah.
But that's really the Holy Spirit guiding you and telling you, like, he's watching you, right? He's looking at you. If you say something to him, he's gonna be like, look, you're a Christian. This is how you're behaving. Like, it's gonna be instantly. And man, I don't know if you've seen these people, these evangelists, where they'll go and like be at a corner street and they have all these signs like, you're going to hell, like you need to repent, follow Jesus. They have like the Jewish flag and an American flag. Have you seen those guys?
I know what you're talking about, yeah.
Like
the signs, right? Like
yeah,
signs.
that's so controversial. I, at least in my opinion, I think that's like not the way to go, not the way to evangelize to somebody. Because who like wants to be told you're going to hell, like, you know, and that's so good. Like if you were to react that way, that's kind of the character you're portraying. Like, well, dude, you're going to hell. You know, I don't care what you say.
Yeah, because like I would talk about God so much, like people would just say like I'm judgmental. Like for example, one time this girl came up to me and like she said something about like Christianity, right? And then like after she said it, like I think I said something to her or I debunked because she's Catholic, and I just said like all these things about how like Catholicism is wrong, like, you know, all this is wrong, what you guys do, like it's false, you know? And like after that, like after like they don't say anything because they don't, okay, I'm not gonna say anything, you know,
because they don't know.
They don't know, so I don't really tell them anything, but they go straight to like, oh, you're judgmental. And I remember going on a field trip and I wasn't hanging out with them, but Daniel was, and like my brother, and he was like, dude, like, you gotta stop judging people. I'm like, what are you talking about? It's like, dude, they're all like over here like saying how you judge everyone. You always want to talk about the Bible. But they say that because like they don't have an answer for what I'm telling you, you know? Yeah. And just things like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's always gonna happen. I mean, in a sense, in anything, like if you're a volleyball player, like you perform bad or you do good, like they're gonna say like, oh, like he thinks he's all good because he's this. Or if you suck, he's like, oh, he sucks, he's not good. Like people always have something to say, that's for sure. So I kind of want to switch gears and ask you about your dad, because I know you grew up without a father. You've kind of had Dominic, your older brother, in your life as a role model. How has it been for you as a Christian growing up without a father? Because we look to God as our spiritual father, right? And that's someone who we seek counsel from, right? And this is where we go to God for everything. But how has it been for you as a Christian not having an actual father in your life?
I don't really think about that too much, but like, one way I took it is just like, at first I used to be like very like depressed about it, very sad. And this is when I really didn't really care about like Christianity, how it looked, and like, you know, but sorry, it's like kind of, but I just remember like, you know, questioning like God, like, you know, like, why is he over there? You know, like, why do you allow him to be suffering over there? You know, he's on drugs, like he's drinking, like, you know, all these bad things. Like I remember like we didn't see him for like 3 years, and like he's like super skinny because, you know, he's on something. Yeah. And you know, I used to question God like so much. I used to like, not like almost angry, you know. And I used to tell my mom like, you know, why was this happening? And, you know, God, she would just tell me like, you know, it's all for a purpose, you know, like who's to say that, you know, we would have found Cross Point because of my dad, or who's to say that we would have even continued to be stronger spiritually if my dad was here. And, you know, like I kind of took that to heart more, and I kind of understand, you know, now that I'm like growing and like learning, I can understand like why, you know. Yeah. But, yeah.
Yeah, man. I mean, I get it. Obviously, you know that I grew up without a father, so it's kind of like at times I would like just cry and say like like, I want my dad. Like, I don't want to talk to my mom right now, like, where I would fight with my mom or something. And I was like, I want my dad. Like, my dad would defend me right now. My dad would do this for me. And, like, I always thought about that. And I always thought, like, why, why me, right? Like, why do I have to deal with this and go through this? But that's something that God's always kind of relieved in my heart, because I can go to Him as my spiritual father, and He can give me something that nobody else can.
Mm-hmm.
And my dad, like, the opportunity that I have had to interact with him and talk to him, I see how normal and human he is, and how, like, broken he is, because he obviously isn't a believer, and he lives elsewhere. And, like, I've just kind of seen, like, you know what, I'm actually better off with God as my father, you know. And God has bigger plans. And right now, like, we were talking about the coronavirus, like, everyone's freaking out, everyone's panicking, but I can't wait to see what comes out of this, you know, because every time we're in a battle, I always think, God, what do you want to teach me right now? What do you want me to learn from this? And I think me not having a father in my life has taught me so much more if I would have had one in my life. Mm-hmm. And I think that's where I get my peace from, knowing that God has a bigger plan that is just gonna, like, I don't even know if it's gonna be like, I don't even know if I'm gonna be married or, like, have a long life, but I know that He used me. I'm a real important chapter in His story. You're a real important chapter in His story. And all these stories that we talk about and we share is, like, why I essentially want to continue to talk about this, because we all have our stories and we all have our brokenness, and we all have a purpose, and God gives us that purpose. And so just thank you for sharing that. The last thing I close off with asking these questions is, how did you know in your heart that you had truly turned away from this? Because in high school, it's easy to fit in. It's easy to, like, oh, that's the cool crowd. Like, oh, that's the volleyball crowd. That's, like, you can easily just kind of throw yourself in one of those crowds. How did you know that, like, you know what, I'm not going to follow that. I'm not going to go to the drinking, the partying, the girls, the sex, like, all that. Mm. How did you know, like, I'm not going to do that anymore? I'm going to follow Jesus.
Well, I'm a junior, and freshman year, like, the group of friends I had was, like, really bad. It was toxic. Like, you know, they do drugs, like, they drink, they talk about, like, girls, sex, like, they brag about it, you know what I mean? And, like, you know, like, every now and then kids would come, like, selling, like, you know, pieces of, like, some type of, like, pen, like, you know what I mean? Things like that. And I remember, like, thinking, like, this is, like, this is cool. Like, you know, I'm, like, with the group, like, oh my gosh, like, I'm with them, you know what I mean? Like, and, you know, that year felt so long, like, just me being with those people, you know? And even my best friends, like, is with them still, you know? And I feel sad. I'm sad every day, like, because I see him with them. I'm like, he's lost, you know.
Toxic, yeah.
And then, you know, that whole year went by. Summer from freshman year to sophomore year went by. I go back to school, and I go back to that group, you know, and literally get there, they're talking about the same thing, dude. Like, talking about the same thing. And I remember, like, thinking to myself, and I think it was like a week went by for sophomore year, and I was thinking, like, I was just sitting on the bench. I was like, what am I doing here, you know? And I remember, like, yeah, like, I was so sad. I was like, dude, like, is this really in my high school? Like, just talking about sex, like, you know, porn, like, all these things, cussing, you know, like, seven.
Yeah, tell me about it.
And I remember I just, like, I prayed to God, like, Lord, like, I need, like, I can't be hanging out with these people. I need a new group. Like, help me, Lord. Like, I need you. And, you know, my friend Aaron, plays with me in volleyball.
Yeah.
Aaron.
Come on, Aaron.
He texted me and was like, hey, bro, like, where you at? I was like, oh, like, I'm between, like, the G building and the small quad. And he was like, oh, like, hey, come hang out with me. I was like, all right, whatever. And I love volleyball. I'm like, I love volleyball. It's my favorite sport. And he texted me and he's like, hey, come over here. So I went to, like, the large gym, by my gym. And he was like, we were just hanging out, and over there they're playing volleyball. Like, they're just hitting it at each other. And I'm like, the heck? It's, like, nicer over there too. The palm trees are right there. I'm like, oh my goodness, like, you know, it's cool. It's awesome. And, like, I went over there and you know, I started hanging out with them, and I was talking to, like, all the other teammates, and just, like, some people who like to just hang out over there. And, like, they don't talk about drugs. They don't talk about porn. They don't do drugs. They don't do, like, drink. You know. Yeah. And I remember, like, I didn't realize it and I was in a better position, right? And, like, you know, a couple days went by, and I kept going over to that spot because I really enjoyed it there. Yeah. And I remember like I was like I didn't realize it after like probably a couple weeks. I was like, Lord, like you answered my prayer. Like, thank you. You know,
That's amazing.
like thank you for doing this. Like, I'm glad I got out of there. And I didn't, you know, every now and then I would go over to the spot to like see how my friends doing. You know, like not to like be like interacting with them too much, but like just go say hi, see what's up, if he's okay. You know.
Yeah.
And sadly, my best friend got into drugs, and we would always talk about like not doing drugs anymore. Being like nah, we're gonna stay away from that, and he fell into it. And I remember like thanking the Lord, like I could have been that person.
Yeah.
I could have like fell into drugs, got addicted, and almost died probably. Or get caught, get kicked out of school. Yeah. So like I thank the Lord like all the time about that, and like every time I walk by there, like I remind myself like thank you, Lord.
You mentioned they're still talking about the same thing, and I can name so many people on the top of my head right now where I was in high school, and after that they're still doing the same thing. Like, dude, you're 19 now, you're 20 now, you're still talking about the same girls, the same cars, the same drugs. Like you're still doing the same thing, and like you're just digging your hole deeper. And like it hurts to see, because some of those people like were my teammates where I played basketball with, or people that I was just like cool with, and I was like, bro, what are you doing? Like I didn't have it all together, but I just knew that like that wasn't the route to go. Like if at some point it finally clicked, and I think it was my senior year where it clicked, like, yo, like this is my life. Yeah. Like I can't be a bum, dude. Like I gotta get my act together. Like I can't be kicking it with y'all. Yeah. There was literally a day in my life where I had no friends. Like I walked around the school and I cried on my way to class because I couldn't associate myself, but that was the only crowd that I knew. Like I had other friends aside from like the basketball players, but I tried to find my other friends, and like I don't know what happened. Like that day, like everyone just happened to be absent. And so like I didn't find them, I didn't find anybody, and I literally went to class crying. Like I had my geometry class. Oh my gosh, senior with geometry. That's how you know school. Yeah, math tough for me. But I went to class, and I remember like putting my head down and crying. Like I was like, man, like I want to follow you, God, but like damn, like I don't even have friends. Like this is how much it costs. There's a cost to being a Christian. There really is, because you have to give up your friends, like the worldly friends that do that stuff. Yeah. And so it's tough. Like I get it, man. Like those people, I'm so glad that God brought you out of that, and that's amazing, because who knows like what could have happened. Like we talked about this guy not too long ago that was a friend of ours. His name was Brian Mendoza, and I knew him as an 8th grader. I knew him in high school, and I knew he was like caught up in all this like mess and stuff. And he knew God. He heard the gospel, but it was so sad to hear that he was shot dead because he was in that circle. And there's so many people that are in that circle, and it's just scary because like you never know what can happen. Like I just really want to push this out and like tell people, like Jesus is the way, he's the truth and the life. Go to him. Like why are you over there? Like oh man, like I want to, like at times, like I posted on Instagram, like I just want to shove it in people's throat, It's like, oh, like you're missing out. Like just trust me, like just take a leap of faith in a sense, So I mean, I totally get it. It's hard. The last question that I wanted to ask is, after being exposed to all that, after seeing like the drugs, the money, like whatever it is, after seeing all that, like why do you still constantly choose to follow Jesus? Like what do you get out of following Jesus and not doing all that? Because that you can have it all. Like in the world aspect, you can have the money, you can have the girl. Like it's cool to be with all these girls. It's cool to have all this money. It's cool to have all this car or the job or whatever it is. Why do you choose to follow Jesus and not do that?
Well, like I think people have like different opinions of what the better life is, Like someone's better life is to be like, oh, I do drugs, I have all these girls, I have money, you know what I mean? Like things like that. But like I think I have like a way better life than like before, because, like I feel good like as a person, like morale, like I don't know how to say it. I just feel like I'm in a better place, and like I knew like that like I don't know, like recently, like I see myself like seeing on stories like people are selling things, and I'm like, oh my goodness, like I'm in a way better spot now, like like having a better life, and it's because of God, it's because of like Jesus, and yeah.
All right, so that's the concluding of our interview. Thank you guys for watching. I hope that this interview encourages you guys. 16-year-old able to turn away from all this stuff. And I hope this just kind of encourages anyone you're around this age and you don't want to be cool, you don't want to fit in, and you're fighting and you're trying to figure out, like, do I stay with my friends? Do I know, like, you deep inside, you know what's right and what's wrong. And in that position that you're in, you should turn away from your sin and repent and follow Jesus Christ. There's so many people that do it, but are doing it in hiding. If you say this and you follow Jesus, I promise you, God's gonna turn your life around, and He's gonna give you the best life you can ever ask for. So I hope that this just encourages anybody and helps you.